The scene outside the criminal courthouse in Manhattan took on the air of a political rally today as some of Donald Trump's top Republican backers, including the House Speaker Mike Johnson, fought for a spot in front of the cameras. This, as Trump brags his trial is garnering even more coverage than his presidential campaign. CNN's Kristen Holmes has more.
Mr. Trump, are you directing surrogates to speak on your behalf?
A show of force for Donald Trump today, arriving to court flanked by some of his most vocal allies.
I do have a lot of surrogates, and they are speaking very beautifully, and they think this is the greatest scam they've ever seen.
A litany of Republicans jockeying for a potential role in a future administration, including on the GOP ticket.
Ladies and gentlemen of America, this trial is a joke. This thing is a farce.
I think the only conclusion, of course, is it's election interference and it's tying up the president from being out on the campaign trail.
What's going on inside that courtroom is a threat to American democracy.
The entourage, including Speaker of the House Mike Johnson, who has increasingly aligned himself with Trump amid scrutiny from far-right members of the party.
I called President Trump and told him I wanted to be here myself to call out what is a travesty of justice. I'm an attorney. I'm a former litigator myself. I am disgusted by what is happening here.
Many of his courtroom guests also scheduled to attend a high-dollar Manhattan fundraiser for Trump tonight.
You ask me questions, I'm not allowed to respond. The gag order has to come off.
The former president remains under a gag order imposed by Judge Juan Merchan to stop him from publicly talking about witnesses, including former Trump fixer Michael Cohen. Trump's allies not under the same restrictions.
Okay, so you have a guy who has been a perjurer in the past that is now saying he falsified business records. What is the crime that Donald Trump committed?
He's a convicted felon. I mean, this guy, he's up there giving an acting scene.
One Trump ally even attacking the daughter of the judge overseeing the case, who is also covered by the gag order.
The judge's daughter is a political operative and raises money for Democrats.
The show of support from surrogates comes after Trump privately complained that no one was there to back him, sources told CNN. With few family members in attendance, only Eric Trump has been in and out of the courtroom, and Lara Trump showing up today. Trump posting on social media last month calling for supporters to, quote, go out and peacefully protest, and, quote, rally behind MAGA.
It's a scam. It's election interference at a level that's never taken place before.
In the weeks ahead, more allies are expected to join Trump, a campaign official told CNN, saying a number of his friends and supporters have reached out to ask if they could come to the courthouse to defend the former president.
And Wolf, any moment now, Donald Trump will head to that high-dollar fundraiser at a swanky hotel in Midtown Manhattan. Notably, on the list of co-hosts, that includes Jared Kushner's parents. One thing we're going to be watching for is whether or not Ivanka and Jared attend this fundraiser, despite the fact that they haven't been in the courthouse at all. Wolf?
Kristen Holmes reporting for us. Thank you very much. Joining us now, our senior political commentator, Scott Jennings, and CNN political director, David Chalian. Scott, is this the new loyalty test for Trump?
Well, I think these visits serve a few purposes. One, for the people who want to be vice president, it does show loyalty and show you're willing to go defend the president against these attacks as they see it. Number two, this is where the campaign is. I mean, the whole campaign's happening in a courtroom, and so campaigns typically organize surrogates to do things. We're used to them doing policy events around the country. Now it's all happening in a courtroom. And three, I do think there's a legal purpose here. Trump's under a gag order, but these people are not. They can say whatever they want, and so they can go out and deliver messages that Trump cannot. And they are indeed doing exactly that. David, just listen to how closely the Speaker, Mike Johnson, was today in his remarks outside the courtroom to what Trump has been saying over these past few days. Listen to this.
There's no crime here.
There's no crime here.
This is 4 weeks of keeping me from not campaigning.
They are doing this intentionally to keep him here and keep him off of the campaign trail.
It could have been brought 6 years ago, 7 years ago, almost 8 years ago.
Now, 8 years later, suddenly they've resurrected this thing.
We have a corrupt judge. You know who appointed him? Democrat politicians.
What we've got here is a partisan Democrat district attorney. We have a Biden donor judge.
What does this tell you?
I know you're shocked to find talking points are being disseminated. But honestly, as I was listening to Kristen Holmes' piece too, every one of these surrogates who was out there today, you could literally go back
to Donald Trump's Truth Social feed and find the exact quotes that they were reading, because they are standing in for him where he can't speak and amplifying the political message of this. Obviously, the jury doesn't hear this. This is not going to impact what's going on necessarily in the courtroom, but this is all about framing the political argument. I will say, watching the guy who is second in line in constitutional order and in a constitutional office sort of hang up that hat to take on the party surrogate hat, that happens in American politics. It's just a little discordant from his day job to have him out there sort of slamming the
I think
trial.
for Speaker Johnson, too, he just came off of a bout with Marjorie Taylor Greene where President Trump sided with Johnson and kind of smacked Greene's hand a bit. Johnson was under fire from the right flank in his conference over the foreign aid bill. Trump stood with Johnson, and now Johnson's standing with Trump, so they're showing some loyalty to each other here.
What do you make of Trump bragging about the coverage that this criminal trial is getting?
I assume he's, well, number one, he loves coverage, and he's been going out of the courtroom and reading, straight out of the clips that people are handing him. But two, he must be also responding to these polls, the New York Times polls that came out, showing that polls taken in the midst of this trial, he's still leading Joe Biden. He's getting better against Joe Biden. So he must be marveling at the fact that he's stuck in a courtroom, and yet the campaign looks like it's getting better and better for him.
How significant, David, is the Trump fundraiser in New York tonight, given the fact that Jared Kushner's parents are among the co-hosts?
Well, let's first start with how significant it is just because he's behind in money and he needs to add to his coffers. So being able to make use of his limited schedule in New York and being able to raise and try to catch up to Joe Biden is a very important thing for the Trump team to be doing. Whether or not, as Kristen mentioned in her piece, whether or not Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump show up, it will be interesting. They are far removed, especially Ivanka Trump, from the day-to-day of this campaign. They have, said they really weren't going to be a big part of it. If they do show up, obviously they're supporting their father and father-in-law, but if they do show up, it'll be a new moment for them in terms of public involvement in the campaign.
We'll see if they show up. All right, guys, thank you very, very much.